1-0. Nothing.
Alright. Let's see here. Alright. Let's see here. Turn it down for a second. It's a little bit. It's a little loud. You know what I mean? Get it situated. This is a video game. Video game. So, I have this like story that I wanted to tell. Earlier, like I wasn't able to finish the full thing. It ended up being just us. Just like 30 minutes long of me talking about like people being insanely negative for no reason, or you know, just preventative or even stifling in development. But being the same age or even like older, you think people wouldn't behave or be that way in any way, you know? And then you run into people who just have that mindset where it's completely different. And from that point of view, you know, that social equity of being able to express yourself, not being like at the mercy of others in some way, like it's always your choice to do what you want to do or be who you want to be. And if you have someone standing in front of you, just restricting everything, or even stifling you mentally, you know, within development, then there's really no point to being around that person. You know what I mean? And along that same thinking is like, why don't you value people? So like, the moral of that, just in precursor, actually is just dependent upon that too. But I spoke a little about it yesterday, that and some other things. But just to recap, this is Super Mario Sunshine. It's a game, you know. What's crazy about that, and what's interesting, is that I love this game so much, but it's insanely hard, and it's really long, too, you know? It's like, it takes forever to beat, and the levels are difficult. Sometimes you don't know what to do. There's no map. There's no, like, it doesn't tell you what to do. You know? Just to go find the yellow sunstripe in every level. But neither does life, though, right? No one in life really tells you what to do. My whole thing with it is that, like, within schooling, within time, place, even like even time to place, like doing other things, or being like a just a person in general is like things are set out, and there's not always like an answer for everything, you know? No one has a set answer for how to react to everything. Sometimes there's gonna be a flight or fight response in some way, right? And what I mean by that is that certain people, certain situations, or the way that people act are often defined by like uncomfort or even moral implication, to where like you can see someone act a certain way, mean something else, and still have some emotional variability in that aspect. To where like you know, you're not gonna want to be around someone if they're gonna, you know, visibly make you feel terrible, or say something that makes you feel bad in any way possible. And that's the way like people are. But after a time period, you know, conditioning will say that abuse puts a person in that mindset to where if you don't want to give up on that idealism, but you also want nothing to do with that kind of behavior, it's completely different, right? So whenever I think about that kind of thing, I always like place that thought into like, is that something that you would want to put yourself through? You know, being that type of person towards situations and just like not understanding, or even being the reason someone else is uncomfortable, right? So I hate burdening people. One of my things. I hate being such a burden to other people that, like, in some way you just feel like you're not supposed to be there, right? Maybe I'm not supposed to be in your life, and I'm just a huge burden to you in every way, right? Or maybe not. Oh, please don't fall. Okay. There we go. But I always think of that. Like, maybe that's the reason why I try to avoid people sometimes. Try to steer clear of situations like that. Because not only do I feel that way, but in some way I think it's justified. think it's justified to feel that way at certain times because you don't want to be disruptive. You don't want to have like other people looking to you as if you're crazy in some way because you just don't agree with something or something like that. Or even like the way that people talk with one another to be understanding in that aspect. To where psychoactive connection, you can make eye contact with someone, think something, say something different, and feel another way entirely. So it's like multivariable situation with other people at all times. It's just important to be considerate, I guess, or like maintain that frame of mind where maybe just like maybe the other person's feelings matter more than you, more than yours every time. But you run into certain people who can be kind of selfish about that whole thing. Selfish in the way that like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that people do that really isn't okay. To where you can place an arbitrary like reason or like subjective reason on something and just attribute it wholeheartedly to that instead of seeing the way that another person feels in any way. But I don't know. I have this like story that I wanted to tell. I have a few stories. I've been through some stuff in my life, so I'm gonna tell you the story about this one time where I actually had a fight or flight response to, but it's a little bit of a different situation. I just thought this was funny, so I'm gonna tell you about it. Alright, so this one time, right, I was out of state. I live in Minnesota currently. It's a nice state, you know. Actually, it's ranked pretty high up there. I don't mean to like humble brag about it, because my life is like horrible, and I've never had fun, ever. You know what I mean? I've never had one single ounce of fun, even when I was a child. But now I'm like approaching 30, right? At least I feel that way. I'm still relatively young, but 26 is like, you're already done. You're 20, after you're 25, you just round up to 30. And you can disagree with that, but that's how I feel. So, I've, be that as it may, just being like 30 years old, I've never played Super Mario Sunshine, or what? Pocket nozzle. What the hell is this? I didn't even know this existed. I thought you only get to the entire game. Wait, how do you use it though? Oh, I'm pissed. I didn't see the directions. No, they won't come up again. What the hell? Oh, okay. Oh, can you switch? Yeah, it's weird. Oh, you really only do get to the entire game. That kind of sucks. But anyways, like I've never played Super Mario Sunshine, right? And it's such a good game. It's like a full classic. Yeah. I like things like that. But with that in mind, there's so much that a person does in their lifetime, right? So, just a precursor to this, I live in Minnesota. It's a nice state. Lived here my entire life, right? I like it. People are cool. Soft locked it. Gotta go get the other nozzle now. But people are cool. I mean, universally like nice. You know when they say like northern people are nice. I'd say they are, because like down in southern states, like people are just like are so savage all the time. You know what I mean? Like even meaner. You go to New York and you get pushed over on the subway. At least here you can ride the train and someone respects your boundaries. You know, you don't have a random groper on the subway. Some guy trying to grope you on the subway. That would be completely unacceptable here, but I don't know, that kind of thing goes overlooked elsewhere. I don't know. But it's a nice place. There's like a high standard of living. It's ranked #1, right? Or actually pretty high up there, actually. There's only a hologram. High up there. Good hospitals, good schools, colleges. Yeah. It's just a nice place to live. And Minneapolis is a beautiful city. Like, I spent a lot of time there. I've done delivery. I mean, I don't need a GPS in the entire city or state at all. I've been everywhere. What's cool about that is like when you do like delivery and work at like jobs, when you have like 3 jobs and you're doing Amazon Flex and you work for like a factory or like a restaurant and you do delivery, the time you spend working on the second job actually becomes an activity instead of like actively being like a job. It's like this is the time you can get to like experience the environment in some way, or go and look at like different things that are interesting, cool spots. And I used to do urban exploration for a long time. What's cool about Minneapolis is that they have these tunnels, networks of tunnels underneath the city. That and abandoned buildings was art in them. Towers, you can go get pizza. I like pizza. But the whole urban exploration thing is so funny to me because during this time period when I'm doing this, I'm going into like I'm going into school. I'm doing school. I'm very lonely, and the only thing I do at the time is I go and like do delivery, and then after my shifts, or even you can end DoorDash or Uber whenever you want to, but so you end it, and then you go and do Urban Expo, right? And what Urban Expo is basically you take like a backpack, a flashlight, like a snack. I always have a snack because like I get so hungry. I'm doing something. I have like a bag of chips or almonds or cashews or I like I like cashews. Wait, are almonds better than cashews? Oh, I don't know what you would prefer. Salted cashews are different, but roasted almonds are good too. You know what I mean? I can't take. They're like kind of on the same frame of mind. Yeah, I just can't pick a favorite. But I always have like some granola or nuts, some protein, and that's what I look at it as. Salty snacks, maybe some fruit. But I cannot do this without this nozzle here. So matter. But anyways, yeah, I have like the snack with me, right? And I take it with just because like I get hungry and then I just want to eat like a couple bites of food and then put it away in that way. You know what I mean? Like some people sit and eat their food and they like scarf it down and they need to eat all of it. I'm like really peckish in that way. I'd say that's what peckish means, where you just like only eat like half of the snack. A quarter of it, you get a quarter of it, put it away, and then save it for later. But that's delayed gratification in some way. And that's one instance of like habits and mentality, even psychology that I am. I'm terrible with money. Well, not really, but I'm terrible with money for the most part right now, so I don't have any. But most likely just because America is just the way it is. America is just like so counterintuitive, backhanded. I have no idea. There's so many gripes with the social system, but I always have snacks. Right, so it's in my bag. It's with a flashlight and a rope. I have had a rope for the longest time, and it's not only because like I get like kind of sad sometimes, and like maybe I'll do it or something like that. I don't know, maybe I'll do it type of thing, but it's also because like I like to climb stuff. I like to like climb up on buildings. I mean, sometimes you'll be in like a abandoned building, right? And you'll need like a rope to get down certain places, and you just prop your feet up on the wall and like climb up there. And that's essentially what urban exploration is, you know, because these abandoned buildings and stuff like that, they're all like run down and no one's in them, and it's like you're afraid of getting trespassed. Doubt a police officer would explore so fully into the abandoned asylum, you know? So now you're on the roof of it, and you have a rope, and you're so like, I want to get onto that balcony. How do I do it? Right? So you kind of like set up the rope. You know, this is gonna be dangerous, whatever. And you go for it. And that's what like Urban Expo is about. It's just kind of just like looking at things and appreciating the environment, even if it's run down. You know, it's kind of like the cityscape and history of it too. Because you can go home and learn about the place that you were just at, you know. But Minnesota is one of those type of places that, I don't know. There's a nice aspect, and there's also like a historical premise in that way. But everywhere is like that. But in Populous, I always have a snack, right? And when I say like at the end of the day, it's like snack food, dude. There's like different types of snack food. It's snack food, dude, to the rescue, you know? And that's just like a person with like chips when you're really hungry, right? The other day I was starving to death, almost collapsed. Actually, I think it was today, right? No, that's bad. Yesterday. I almost collapsed from not eating anything. So like, snack food dude would have been a helpful guy to show up, right? Anyways, it's a nice area. I do urban exploration, and I'm not. I have all my stuff. I usually have like paint marker. Here's the thing. I used to like drive around doing delivery, and I had this vinyl sticker printer for the longest time. But my friend stole it from me. The person I was seeing at the time. But yeah, they stole it from me, and now they're not my friend anymore because of it. But the vinyl sticker printer was so important because you could print something off and then laminate it, and then have a vinyl sticker. And then when I would go and get coffee, I would place a new vinyl sticker on, say, like a lamppost or something else. And that's what I do. And it's not even like one of those things. And you can make them large or small, but depending on how good the art is, they look very nice. And it's not always black and white either. They can be color or, you know, holographic in some way. They make like holographic paper that you can like cut out and then like decorate with. I think that's the coolest part, right? But I do Urban Expo, and that's cool. There's like underground tunnels, graffiti, street art, abandoned places, quote unquote haunted places. And actually, I've seen a few ghosts before. I'm not gonna lie. I know what a ghost looks like. What's around me right now? What's around me? There's a ghost. I ain't afraid. But yeah, I've seen some ghosts. I've had some paranormal experiences actually within the energies of the world. Anyways, so like in this process of like urban exploration, I'm in this building, right? And it's like a nice building. I'm exploring it. Like it's all run down. Normally there's like broken glass on the ground, other things. Um, doors ripped off hinges, graffiti, anything from beautiful artwork to some guy just writes like boobs on the ground. That's my favorite thing. I see that all the time for no reason. For some reason, someone would just write the word boobs for no reason on everything. And I kind of respect that. I kind of don't. Because if you have like a paint marker or like spray can, you can't just do like, you can't do some artwork. I would just write the word boobs. That's my biggest gripe with it. Like some people just don't even get the premise or point of like the artistic initiative. But I'll have a paint marker, rope, spray can, uh, and that's Urban Expo. Man, flashlight too, snack, maybe an extra change of clothes or shoes in case it's like muddy or wet. But oh, you can't have both. Okay. I was thinking I would get the hover nozzle and the rocket nozzle. I guess I can't have both. But just the thing that there's like this aspect of me, right? Where I was doing Urban Expo. I'm in this building, I'm walking around, right? And I'm completely alone. It's kind of a lonely thing to do, but it's hard to like take someone with you. You know, when you're doing it, right? Because if that person isn't like as cool or down to earth or like is willing to like go as far as you, then you might not ever see like how cool the area is. And it can be very physical and like running and jumping in case a police officer shows up and tries to trespass you, stuff like that. That's why you wear a hoodie too, which is interesting, right? Like, you just put your hood on, most likely they can't see you. Don't remember your face, you just get away. Like, do not do that. In public though, like if you're not like in some like situation where, like you can't run from the police in a city, but say if you're in like an abandoned place and this, that, and the other, they're most likely they're gonna find you if you like hide. They're not gonna send drones, but police have like drones now with thermal on them. They don't ever commit a crime and think you can run anymore. I don't. They'll send the thermal drone and they'll find you hiding in the grass. And that's an extra charge, you know? They'll tack on so many extra charges, even if you, like, didn't do anything wrong. But if you actively run, I swear to God. And they can be so racist about it too. But it's the best advice I have. I don't know, I have my gripes with the political idealism and authoritarian archetype that is law enforcement. But that being said, I was in this building, right? And I was exploring it. There's broken glass on the ground. It's destroyed. There's like art. people writing in it. It's a nice little spot. And the reason I was there is because it's on it was on this urban exploration website, right? Anyways, I'm on this urban exploration website, right? And like that's how you get the locations. Or sometimes you look on you know, there's secret spots. Your friends will show them to you. I don't have any friends, so I go alone. But that being said, I'm in this building and I'm walking around and I'm looking through. It's like a spooky building, kind of like an asylum type environment. And it's kind of creepy. It's large. The corridors are large. Everything is like sort of creepy and weird. And walking around, it can be kind of spooky, a little weird, a little scary. And I'm looking inside these doors, right? And I keep hearing this noise in this dark room, and it's completely dark at this point because it's like the fall time. And this happened like a number of years ago, actually. Anyways, so I'm walking around like a dark corridor, and I keep hearing this like noise from the back hallway, right? And it's like a clicking. It's not someone breathing, but it's like a clicking, right? Sort of clicking noise. And I'm sitting there like thinking like, okay, there's like no way someone else is like here with me right now, right? And so I'm getting a little spooked out, a little sketched out, right? It's so sketchy. Anyways, so I keep hearing this like clicking. I'm like, what the hell is that? Right, I'm looking over my shoulder, walking in and out of these dark doors. Cause like not only is it like a little fun to like look around in the buildings and stuff, but like the views are good, and the sort of the object to achieve is sort of get to the roof, right? Find a way to the roof, and then you can take a picture from the roof, and it's like you accomplish your journey. And maybe, I mean, for me, I do graffiti and street art and murals and stuff, so like usually I'll put something there, right? Or a little bit of art, and also return to the same building every year to do a mural in the same spot. And I've done this for like a number of years. I've done this for like 4 years in a row, where I'll put a different piece of artwork on the same wall of this abandoned building that I work on art in, because there's like a lot of people who do that. You know what I mean? Other people within the state all kind of like put their art and street art in this one place, right? And that's how you know there's other artists in the area. That, and like you'll see like people writing on signs and stuff, but I don't do that very often just because I'm afraid I'm being watched. You know what I mean? That some surveillance is happening on me, so I don't really tag anything. But I'll go back to the same wall or do a mural on an abandoned building. And that's what I get into. I like art, right? So, with that being said, I like art, I like things like that, and there's like a lot of other things to life, other than being negative. So I'm exploring this building, and there's dark corridors, it's cold, I'm shivering, I'm in a sweatshirt, and I'm looking around, and I keep hearing like rocks being kicked, and like now it's breathing, It's a soft breathing from the end of the corridor, right? So the guy's like breathing from his mouth, and that's like one of my least favorite things about people is people who breathe from their mouth all heavily. It just sounds so disgusting to me. For some reason, I get that way all the time, right? Where it's like, oh no, it's mouth breather Steve, and I'm sitting on the subway. Be quiet. No, no, mouth breather Steve. And it's always someone who just like manspreading. It's always some guy just like sitting, just making everyone uncomfortable. It's not even dressed correctly. Is that a tap out shirt you're wearing? Is that a really cheaply made tap out shirt you're trying to pass off as fashion? Gosh, I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with that at all, but I just don't know with that kind of thing, right? Not that I'm judgmental, not that what you wear defines you in any way, but the best advice I have is just like don't do that, right? Maybe that's not alright. Maybe don't wear that. You know, I don't think, I don't think the, I don't think the chicks dig the tap out shirt. But there's also, on the other hand, tap out reminds me of Supreme too. Tap out is like tap out in opposition to Supreme is the exact opposite, but the same thing. It says tap out the same way that Supreme is written. So I just like I don't know. Modern streetwear sort of confuses me. So I don't wear that. That or Bape. Bape is like my least favorite thing that has ever been invented. If you want modern streetwear, just like find some sweaters and matte black clothing, white t-shirts, you know, black jeans. But even that is sort of generic because in streetwear they're always wearing long coats. I hate like people that try to pass off streetwear as just like wearing like a long coat and saying like they're trendy or something like that. But it's like such an arbitrary thing. I don't know. That's a hot take in fashion right now. Just be who you are. Who cares what you wear? Right? Anyways, so I'm hearing this breathing behind me in this corridor, and I'm down to like the third level. I took three or four flights of stairs down into this basement of this abandoned building, right? And there's no one there. There's not a car in the parking lot. I planned it just so I could like, go and explore and like do something, do some art in there. And it's like a little activity. Plus, I like to check out places before like taking someone there, just in case like, because you can't take your girlfriend or someone you're seeing to go and do some obstacle course. But I'd like to know beforehand because I don't want to have to be jumping like to six fences for like a really bad date that the woman that I'm with is not even gonna like doing that. You know what I mean? Like, why are we climbing things? I can't get up here. Will you carry me home? That's happened before. Like, please carry me home. I don't want to walk anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And it'll be like a mile long journey. It'll be like so many times I'm just being courteous to that kind of thing, right? Please carry me home. All right. It's not even a piggyback ride. For some reason, I'm just like carrying you like you're just married. right? Which is a cute little gesture. I like that part about because a woman in a wedding dress is so interesting. Do I ever plan on getting married? I don't know, but thought about it. Anyways, so I'm in the corridor and this guy's like, well, come to find out it's a guy, right? But I don't want to ruin the story. Anyways, I hear this breathing from down in the back corners, not down in the abandoned business or whatever it was. It was a large factory, actually. But there's also like this asylum you can visit too if you get into it. Relatively. But so I'm downstairs and I start hearing weird noises and I'm seeing like remnants of like someone living there, right? There's like new wrappers on the ground. There's like Doritos bag. You know, like stuff like food, you know, it's starting to smell bad down there. So I'm doing this and I'm also looking just like for like stuff, right? Because I like to take like sometimes you find cool stuff on the ground. I'm not even gonna lie. Like little things to take home. You can make art out of it. You can always paint on things. You know, instead of like ceramics, you know, taking home like crystals. There's crystals on the ground too. But for the most part, you know, you can find like little stuff and I'll take stuff home to like do art with, right? It'll be like plywood or cardboard. I don't know, just stuff like that, you know, and I'll just like place it in my backpack for later and I'll forget about it. But as I'm exploring just this cool place, like dark, run down staircases falling apart, there's still this breathing behind me and I'm still walking, right? And I start walking a little bit farther down the hallway because it's like a long hallway, but other places within the door frame are, I mean, the walkway is a bit different, right? So I start walking a little bit faster, right? In the way that like someone's like a little bit panicked, like I started to pick up my pace because the breathing and rocks moving got closer to me, right? So I started hearing this increasingly loud breathing sound, and I'm gonna get scared. So I start running after walking fast, and the person behind me starts running too, right? So now I can hear like footsteps very quickly approaching me and I don't know what to do and I don't have like a weapon, but I have like my flashlight and it's a long black flashlight that's like metal. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but like I had it from my grandfather because it's like a military thing. He's like a veteran or whatever. He has like a military flashlight. It's black, it's metal, and if it hits you, you know, you're most likely gonna get knocked out. But so that's the only like weapon that I have because I don't agree with guns at all. I don't have a gun. I most likely will never buy it. But if my wife, in which if I ever get married, but if my wife ever wants to buy a gun, then she can keep the gun in the safe and she can have the code. Because I don't want there to be like one day where I'm just like, I'm fed up, right? And I always think about that, and that's why I don't want to buy it. But it's also, you know, a reason I'm also depressed, because why do I feel like that at all, right? I always think about it. But yeah, my wife can have the code to the gun safe, I don't care. That's just something real people deal with. But, in that way, I started running too. And I started running to the end of the hallway, and then I get to the end of the hallway, there's this room, right? And I'm assuming that the room is gonna have have an outlet, right? But I run into the room, and I run into the second portion of the room, and it's closed off, right? It's completely Like, there's no way out of the room, right? At all. So I look at the wall and I say, like, oh fuck, right? There's no way out of here. How do I get out of here, right? And I start panicking because I'm hearing the footsteps from whatever Wendigo or creature or monster is behind me, right? Or I even thought it was like a police officer because I mean, you get trespassed so quickly if it's a police officer, but most likely they'll never actually bother you about that kind of stuff as long as you're like quick about it and have an escape route. But I get to the end of the hallway and there's just a wall, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I am going to die right now. Something's going to happen to me. This person is either going to kill me or something. This person is probably going to, like, put me in jail. What's going to happen here? Right? So, yeah. Anyways, the footsteps approach, right? And they're getting loud, and there's someone there, right? And in the way that it is, it's like the person ran to the end of the hall too. So they very obviously wanted to see who else was down here, right, with me. And this is the only other person. I'm completely alone. No one's with me. I don't even know why I'm doing this. And I'm like, if I get murdered here, I kind of deserve it, right? I thought to myself, like, if I die here from like some weird psycho murder, I sort of deserve it, right? So I just kind of buckled down and waited for the guy to approach the door frame, and I put the flashlight in the middle of the door frame, right? I'm looking down. It's at the floor, and it's so dark in there. And the guy approaches the door frame, and I'm not going to lie to you, this guy's eyes, right, were bugging the fuck out, dude. Like, I had the flashlight, right? And it's shine at the floor, and then you see his shoes and the outfit, and it's this guy, right? And his eyes are like wide. He's like a little scared too. But I noticed after a time period that his eyes didn't change. It was still so bugged out. Like, his eyes are so wide. And I don't know if you've been around like someone who's like that, but the guy was like obviously on drugs. So now I'm realizing this guy's eyes are bugged out and he's on some sort of substance, right? Because no one would look like they're like permanently surprised even while talking, you know? They weren't on something, and he's like shaking. He's like, "What are you doing down here?" That's what he said to me. Well, at first it's like a brief, scary interaction, and then my heart drops, and I look at the guy's face, and he's just like grotesque, right? He's like grotesque, but I'm not judgmental at all. You know, I don't want to judge the guy, but his eyes were bugging out of his head. And he was like kind of old. So like I shine the flashlight and it blinds him, and he puts up his hand, right? And the guy's like teeth are yellow, he's bugging out, eyes wide, like upset. What are you doing down here? And I'm like, well, uh, I'm down here. I'm down here just like exploring, right? I'm doing a bit of urban exploration. And then I shine the flashlight down to his hand, and for some reason the guy has like a sharp piece of metal in his hand, fashioned into some sort of shiv. Like, it's like a knife, you know? So immediately I'm starting to think like, okay, well, this guy might be an issue. Like, this might become an issue. Yeah. So I'm thinking like, okay, if he attacks me, what kind of self-defense situation am I gonna be in? He's gonna go left, right, spider flight, right. And I shone the flashlight, right, on his hand, and it's like a piece of metal. It's a long piece of metal, but it's sharp, and it's like sharpened, as if he like took like as if he cut the metal that way, and in a way to like defend himself or something. I just have no idea why he had this like long shiv. But I started to get scared, right? Because like if someone runs at you with like a knife, what are you gonna do? Like most likely you're just gonna get stabbed, but I'm still gonna try to like break your neck beforehand, right? If you're putting a knife in my chest, then I'm taking out your eyeballs already. But yeah, this bugged out guy approaches the doorway with the long shit. It's metal. And I'm looking at the situation, and I'm like, how the fuck do I get out of this? Because there's a wall behind me, and he's standing in the door frame, and I can't get past him because he approached me, and it's like, what do I do? You know, I was in peril, just endless peril. I was a damsel in distress, dude. You caught. I don't even know. I almost started screaming like a little girl. I'm gonna be honest with you. I almost started fucking like freaking the fuck out. Right? Excuse my language. One second. The guy's like standing in front of the doorway, and I don't know how to get out of the room. And the guy's like standing in front of the doorway. I don't know how to get out. I'm like panicking, and when you like back an animal into the wall, like they change, you know? Like I'm like a wild animal. I'm like, don't get near me. Don't get near me. I'm afraid of you. And he's standing there with this long shit. He's asking me questions, and I kind of diffused the situation. Like you could have been violent. I could have been violent for a time period. Like, what are you doing with that? And like, oh no, and just like run at the guy. But instead, I just chose to like be like, hey man, here's what I said to him. I was like, what's up, dude? What's going on with you? What's going on? How are you? It's a lovely day out here. Just knowing this guy might stab me in my chest with his long piece of metal. I thought it was entirely hilarious. But I'm like, yeah, hey man, how you doing? And I like try to control the situation. I do this all the time where I just take the initiative, like, I'll talk for you. How about this? But, hey man, how you doing? How you doing, dude? And this is where the snack food comes in. Because I thought this was so fucking funny. But for the longest time, the guy like started talking to me, right? And he's like, oh, I live here. I live here, man. I was like, really? Down here in the basement? And then we started talking about it, you know, chopping it up. But I know he's clearly on like drugs, right? So he's speaking like semi gibberish, but it's also, you know, kind of tangible. He can't complete it like a thought, right? A full sentence or thought because of like the substance the guy was on. But he didn't seem like he was gonna be dangerous. You know what I mean? I started to like calm him down, like a docile. I don't know. I had to make him docile. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. Please don't stab me. You, this flipping crazy ass guy. So I'm sitting there, and he has a knife in his hand, and I'm thinking like, if I die here, I'm gonna be so pissed off because I haven't done anything in my life other than walk around abandoned buildings by myself. I'm so lonely. But I start chopping it up with him, make him like docile, right? Starts asking me, he's like, "Hey man, what were you down here? What are you doing down here?" He's like, "What?" He doesn't hear me at first. What? You know how people do that? I absolutely hate that. I hate when people are just like, they act like they can't hear you, and then you have to repeat yourself. And I'm so respectful about that. I will always repeat myself, and I just absolutely hate doing that all the time. But like, he asked me what so many times, and I'm like, oh, I'm just down here doing this. I'm just down here doing this. I'm just down here doing this. And like he's sitting in the door frame, and the discussion goes on for like longer than 10 minutes because I'm sitting there like, am I gonna die here? Right? So like, hey man, don't do anything stupid, that type of thing. But I didn't say that though. I was like, I'm down here exploring the building. I was thinking of get some pizza afterwards. How are you doing? This is my flashlight. This is all I have, type of thing. And the guy's like, cool, 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 cool. But you know, like, and it just seems like he's like ramping up a bit just because of like the drugs he was on. And I looked at the guy and he got like sort of aggressive. He tensed up, you know? Like I tried to like move a little bit and he blocked the door frame from me getting out of it with this like metal shard in his hand. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm dead. I guess we die here, right? So, but instead of that, like I moved a little bit and he got like apprehensive, like I was like moving at him or something. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna fucking die here. Jesus Christ, how could this have ever happened to me? Oh dear God. Dear fucking God. What do I do here? Just in my mind the entire time. And he's like talking to me, and I'm like, hey, what's your name? I forget the guy's name. I think it was like Phil. We'll call him Phil. Because Phil is like one of those names. But Phil was a bugged out guy who was on drugs with a metal ship in front of me. And I tried to defuse the situation and move. And then I opened my backpack, right? And I remembered I had this food in it, right? I remember I had a bag of chips. It was like, yeah, I like chips a lot, so usually it's like the hot fries. I get hot fries from the gas station. I think, not hot fries, but the Cheetos version of hot fries. Because it's like a $2 bag of chips, but it's like the most chips you'll ever get for $2. So it was like hot fries, but yeah, I think it was a bag of French onion chips. I really don't like them to begin with. I don't like French onion, but no, never mind. It was dill pickle. Yeah, I don't know why the chips matter, but here's the tier list for chips. Like Doritos are like C tier chip. Dill pickle chips, high on the list. Tortilla chips, for sure. Tortilla chips might be the all-time best. Potato chips are like C tier, right up there with French onion. And Doritos. Chester's hot fries are kind of up there. I'd say those are like B tier chips. Pita chips are S tier. Flavored pita chips. Those are my favorite. And if you can find like some spicy pita chips in a bag, that's like one of my favorite foods actually. Over fruit. But spicy pita chips and fruit. It's gotta be one of my favorite snacks actually. But anyways, I have this bag of French onion chips and I really don't want it. So like I reach into my bag and the guy's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like very paranoid because he thinks I'm like pulling out like a weapon or something. I'm like, whoa, calm down, man. Calm it down. And he's like waving this shiv in his hand. He's like, well, what are you doing? What are you reaching in your bag for? What are you even doing down here? Man, like, come on, man, what the fuck? Like, and I'm like, well, I mean, what do I tell this guy to like make him happy? So I reach into my bag and I grab the French onion chips. I grab the snack that I have. Right. And I start like, I reach my hand in my bag and you can like hear the sound of the crumpling chip bag, right? Oh, it's kind of through me. Kind of funny. Anyways, you can hear the sound of the crumpling chip bag. He's like, "What you got there? What you got there?" I was like, "I just have some chips, sir. I just have these French onion chips here." He's like, "Oh yeah." He still has a chip. This guy's dangerous to me. I'm sorry, I just cannot outlive this. But you can hear the sound of the chip bag, and then I pull him out, and I was like, "You want some chips, man? Do you want some chips, man?" And he's like, "Yes, yes." But his eyes are so plugged out of his face, and it's like he's on drugs. And I know this guy wants some chips to begin with. And this got to be like the weirdest story ever, because like I feel like such a manipulative guy for it. I feel like a manipulative, like I straight up like Pavlov this guy or something. I conditioned this guy with this bag of chips because like I started crumpling the bag. I made it apparent that I was grabbing chips out of my bag, and it's like a horrible thing to do, like to think about. Like this guy might have been hungry, but it's also this guy's dangerous as hell, right? He's bugged out. He's dangerous as hell. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't. This guy's gonna like stab me. I don't know what kind of guy he is. I don't know what kind of fucking. This is like another grown man, dude. I don't know what this guy is. What kind of guy this guy is. It's character defining. So I'm crumpling the bag of chips, and then I offer it to him, right? I'm like, "Hey man, you want some chips?" Because I'm like chopping it up, trying to diffuse the situation, because he gets aggressive very easily. "Hey man, you want some chips? They're French onion." He's like, "Yes, yes I do." He's very assertive. "Yes, give me the chips." Something like that. He's on drugs, so I can't really blame the guy. His eyes, he never blinked. That's what I'm saying. He did not blink at all one time. And I'm like, "Aren't your eyes dry?" I'm thinking about it. I'm like, "Aren't your eyes dry from not fucking blinking?" Right? And it may seem like arbitrary, like I'm making it up, but this is like a true story. He didn't blink at all. He had a metal shiv in his hand, so I gave him some French onion chips, and he starts like eating them, right? And he gets more focused on the chips than he is me, right? So like I slowly start to like move towards the doorway. I'm like, "Here, you can have the chips," and I hand them to him. And I slowly start to move towards the doorway, and he starts like scarfing down the chips. And I slowly inch toward the doorway, and I just like ran out. Like I pushed past him, ran out because he has like both hands on the chip bag. It was the best distraction from that guy that might have stabbed me. That's like a near-death experience. That's why you have to be like really wary of other people. But what was interesting about that is that the guy like took the chip bag like in both hands and started to like eat the chips, right? And that was my only opportunity to get out of the closed room, was that distraction. And so I pushed past him and started running down the hallway, and the guy started running after me. So now I'm in this now I'm in this maze, this dark maze. I have my flashlight. I lost my shift. And I'm running through the corridors of this like basement. And I'm trying to find like a way out. And when I tell you I was panicking so badly, you have no fucking idea. Excuse my, no flipping idea. Excuse my language. I apologize for that. No flipping idea. But just like that feeling of like running away from like a guy that's like trying to attack you. It's just the worst feeling ever. And then you think like fight or flight response, right? Well, that's essentially what it is. Like my body was, I had like adrenaline. I hit my shin a few times. Might have been broken glass in my hands from falling. But like I fell on the ground, I tripped. Can still hear him running after me. And then I get outside, get to the surface, and it's like not even daylight anymore. I had been in the building too long and it wasn't even daylight. I didn't even know that. I thought it was just like real dark and spooky in the place. But anyways, I'm out and I make it out and I'm just like running down this dirt road outside of the building. And most likely I never went back to that place. I just never went back after that. After having to go through like that bugged out moment. But like, that's why I keep like snack food, right? That's the whole moral of the story. But that's why I keep food in my bag all the time. Because like snack food, dude to the rescue, right? I'll be super hungry. I always want to eat something. But it served as a good flippin' distraction there against that bugged out crackhead. Which is completely wrong to say, actually. But he was, I mean, like, he was severely bugged out. It just didn't sit well with me. And that's, but here's what I'm saying about it, is that's only like one story that a person has, right? Where like something will happen to someone and, you know, you don't really have like a precursor to that information, and that's who you share it with. That's why you share those things with people, because it's like such an interesting thing to interact, to be like a person who has like valuable thoughts and like things that have happened to them. But it's also like through experience, I just don't even know what to do. Right? Other times I've dealt with people on drugs. It's like I'll be in the city and some guy will walk up to me and ask me the wrong question, and I'm just like, no, just please don't talk to me. But in that case, in that aspect, I really did think I was gonna get stabbed that day. That'd be such a horrible way to die, bro. You have no idea. But that's kind of like why I go out and do stuff alone. Just so I have like a story to tell somebody. Like, cause imagine on a date, if you're on a date, like, you want to be interesting and have things that have happened in your life. Or even some moral premise that you can enforce or even talk about. It's a healthy premise to like explore feelings with one another. But I really did have to like use a bag of chips as a distraction to run away from some guy before, and I just think that's like funny. I cross that off the list of something that I've done, you know? The list of achievements, it's like just a weird list of stuff that I've done, right? Repair a TV is on there. Repair the TV. What else is on the list? Like stuff I have to do, but it's like weird and arbitrary. Step barefoot near the Great Pyramid of Giza. That one's on there. What else? Make music. That one's always good. Make videos. I don't know. But like, what's it? That's not even on the list. What I'm thinking of is like more creative options, but those are just things I just are in the back of my head. But it's good to have those things like goals, you know, goals to set in that aspect where you have to be looking at things a bit different if you want to remain one of those people who is interesting and has like, I don't know, say like some sort of inclination to be different, you know? So I'd like at some point to do some things. Right. What else is on the list? Find out if aliens are real. That's on the list for sure. I have to know. I have to know if they like found the remains of an alien and they like preserve it, worship it. Okay. If they preserve it and somehow gave them like special powers and technologies, I have to know, you know. So, but I don't know. But yeah, if you're ever on a date, just I mean, don't make the entire date about how you ran away from some crackhead one time. But that is a funny thing to say, you know? It's a funny like little tidbit of information. Why is snack food dude is cool? Snack food dude is basically just me. It's basically just me like helping my friend when she doesn't have food and they're a little hungover. Because I often pay for breakfast after I go out with fuel. Breakfast is like one of those things that like I bond over. Breakfast foods. Like if you think like the diner at night, I go to the diner at like 3 a.m. Right? And they closed my favorite diner down recently in my city, and I have no idea why, because I frequented there all the time. But they closed the 24-hour diner that was closest next to me. And that's the place where that's what I did, you know. I would go there, I would order like say like French toast, pancakes, and I would just buy the pancakes. I wouldn't like have a full breakfast or anything, just like 2 pancakes, and I would bring my sketchbook and do art while I ate pancakes alone. And this is like the type of person that I am. But that's like my nightly activity, because I used to like come back home and I'd have a long shift at work, so I'd want to do something. I want to be out of my house just briefly to get some food. Sorry, I'm like reading stuff. But yeah, like I'll come back home from work and I want to go and get like diner food. I want to go to the diner. I want to go and like have my sketchbook and just like sit with my headphones in, and I'm in the diner, you know. And that's kind of like my environment that I thrive in too. Is a quiet restaurant where I'm just able to just listen to music and kind of decompress from like what actually is and does occur to me, because I go through a lot all the time. But they closed my favorite diner down. I was kind of disappointed about that, because I would walk in there every night and I would just order something, and that would be my process. Yeah. But that is a nice little bonding experience. And the way that like people are, especially like with your friends and stuff, like if you ever need like a place to go, a 24-hour diner is like a perfect place to just sit down and just like laugh about something, right? And share a moment and just enjoy your time with one another and value it too. Cause I make the best moments always happen like really late at night. And when you're super tired, when a person is very tired, things are just infinitely more funny, right? And I feel that way all the time. For some reason, at like 5 in the morning, anything is funny. It could be just like a picture. It could be a weird picture of some like animal. It would still be funny, you know? And oftentimes, I don't even laugh. Like, I haven't laughed in like so long. I go through so much. It'll be weeks at a time where I don't laugh. But it'll be 3 a.m. and I'll see a picture of like some weird strawberry that's shaped like a butt. And I'll sort of kind of like giggle at it. Like, that's kind of cool, or strawberry butt. For some reason, this pumpkin. For some reason, this pumpkin. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but for some reason, this pumpkin keeps looking fake. Alright. But that aside, yeah, just like valuing your time, right? That's sort of why you do those kind of things. And just like within originality, so you can try to find hobbies that other people don't do if you would like to be more well established as an individual. But taking pride in certain things is okay too, right? Like most likely don't manifest negative situations out of nothing, right? Don't be the reason that other people are feeling that way. And with that in mind, how are certain things defined by other people? Because I've ran into like even like I ran into like grown men who just like don't know how to ask, just grown children, or don't know how to act, not ask, but they don't know how to act. There's grown children, you know, and like that within that emotional instability is just like your person's having in psychology. So I don't know. Try to have like a valid discussion about that kind of thing too, where it's like please don't open up and immediately the input, you know, regardless is going to be against another person. You don't want to downtrodden anyone, surely, but in that mindset, why on earth would it be okay for you to ever say anything bad, right? Why on earth would it ever be your prerogative to make do being a negative person and not someone who's just respectful, right? Respectful, or at least mentally stable and emotionally receptive enough to like hear the way another person feels. But it's never like that, especially with someone who's just like someone who's a bigot, or like some guy who has an issue, right? The guy with the shiv, basically. But I'm pretty sure the guy with the shiv was like the guy with the shiv had like actual issues. He was bugged out. He might have been mentally ill or on drugs. Pretty sure it was drugs though. So I would never do that. You will never see me ever do something like that. I just don't even like that whatsoever. But because you don't want to end up bugged out with a metal shiv, right? But yeah, a lot of grown children out there. And if you're over the age of like 20, or 22, and you still think it's like socially acceptable to like completely be irreparable and negative towards everyone, you may just like be a functioning sociopath, actually. You may just be like a functioning sociopath. Non-empathetic, so self-absorbed that you don't see the prospect of, anyone else's feelings but your own. And you're more important. It doesn't work that way at all. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? Instead of showing empathy, compassion, understanding, and mindfulness, a grown dude or a grown woman, but more often than not, it's a grown dude, will just be a functioning sociopath. And you can see like signs of it too. But oftentimes they're just like red flags in a relationship. That is not a red flag. Clearly that person's a sociopath. Right? But it'll be Chad and Stacy, right? It'd be Chad and Stacy doesn't see what's wrong with Chad's behavior, or chooses to overlook it, or something like that. I don't know. Could never be me, dude. Could never be me. I just won't put up that. And it's okay. Like, teach their own, right? But like, for some reason, that whole Chad and Stacy analogy kind of gets me. It's kind of funny. And Chad and Stacy most likely have like more money for some reason. Somehow they have more money, right? So they just prioritize themselves over everyone. It's kind of psychotic. But think about it that way. You know, a lot of stuff occurs with certain people. And you never truly want to be like that person who isn't understanding. You know, try to be understanding. All the time. Where's the shine spray? It's kind of crazy though. Come to think of it, a lot of things like actually do happen, and like it's just like not okay, right? But it just goes overlooked sometimes, even emotionally. Like I don't want to have to deal with someone else's emotional issues. I'm so old now that it's like if you're not like, you know, that way. If I see behaviors that are unacceptable to me, I just will not enlist a relationship at all. And I'm like that every time. My reason being is that you just don't have time for people like that anymore. Okay, I have to find it. To find the shine for it. But have you ever noticed? I tweeted this. I thought it was a good tweet. Mario jumps 3 times and says "Wahoo!" Wahoo! Wahoo! Kind of sounds like it. Alright. I can also do Yoshi. Wanna hear Yoshi? Also. It's pretty accurate. Not gonna lie. I haven't done that since like I haven't done that in a while. Actually. What else can you do? Right. Well, I'm good at accents, right? So I mean, but accents are like centered around like stereotypes, like culturally. Accents are centered around like dialectual differences, but it's also information regarding like stereotypes and stuff. So you do like a Mexican guy. He just reminds me. It reminds me of like getting those homies things out of the vending machines. I don't know if you know what you're talking about. The most stereotypical part of like Mexican culture actually is like the homies vending machine that that you they're popped out little figurines, right? And they're just like little Hispanic people. And they're called homies. I thought that was horrible. That's an early 2000s thing that just like did not age well at all. But what's weird about me though is that instead of Monopoly pieces, right? Instead of using like the bag of money, the shoe, the shoe, the Monopoly guy. What else is there? What other pieces does Monopoly have? If you can remember. But instead of using that, my family had this copy of Monopoly, right? And it was how we kind of settle things. Sometimes Monopoly, it takes like 6 or 7 hours to get done. But how we settle things was that we didn't use the bag of money or the shoe or the thimble. We used the homies. There was 2 homies and there was like this little figurine. Instead of a silver bag of money, it was a gold bag of money, which I thought was so interesting. Yeah, it was just like a special edition. But Monopoly makes games like centered around like certain areas too. So like I said, I lived in Minnesota, so it was like all the locations within Minneapolis too. Well, we had one copy like that, but the other copy was normal. But we used the homies instead of that. And I just thought that was so interesting, but also kind of like racist. Like that did not age well. That's a poorly made ringtone. You know, you used to have to pay for ringtones. You know, you'd call this number and it would be like, for $5, we'll send you this ringtone. And It's just a guy like screaming or something. Wake up! Wake up! Your phone is ringing. I hate those kinds of ringtones. I was never that kind of person. But I had this Nokia phone too, though, where I just play Snake on it. Been so lonely forever. I do not know where this shine's threaded. So we're here swimming and running and gunning. Just for fun in it. You know. But yeah, in that frame of mind, it's nice to just sit down and talk sometimes. Also, when I find the shine thread, right, or shine bright like that, I'm bright like a diamond. That's so weird, irritating, right? I really don't even like that song. It was on the radio too much. That and you know what song is on the radio too much in every state? And I'll tell you I'm so tired of hearing it. I'ma buy you a drink. Ooh-wee. That song is just on too much. I've heard it so many times. For years in my life, I wonder why people even played that song. It's not a bad piece of music, it's just so overplayed that it's... I have no idea sometimes, but that's the way the radio can be, right? Instead of like listening to the radio, I listen to like NPR, college radio, because they actually play like current playlists. It's not like entirely pop. Not entirely dedicated to like the populace or what's like current in hip hop and so forth. Current standpoint in hip hop is like more into like alternative and popular hip hop. You'll never see me like actually enjoying I don't know, something that's like super popular but insanely difficult to get into. You know, please get on the boat, dude. Please get on the boat, Mario. Maybe this is the way to do it. Do this. Can you smash through the fountain? No. That's why I like this, because it's like a little puzzle to like kind of figure it out. But over there on the alley plan? Yes. Yeah. Making progress. I don't like to see. Making progress. Okay. So then we're gonna do is jump. Yes. That's what I like to see. Thank God. Also have other things to talk about too. Like I've been going through so much that I just like feel like this is like my only saving grace here. This is my only thing that I enjoy lately, just because like I'm so stressed out and purely dedicated to just like getting hurt all the time. I get hurt so much that I can't even like process it right now. But okay, so for this you have to like run, jump, and also rocket at the same time. I didn't make it. Now I know how to do it. I know where it's at now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, that's just my thinking. Like, my only saving grace here, actually, is like having that feeling like maybe I do need to sit down and actually like do something. At the aspects of just being like a person. Sit down and actually talk about what I'm going through. Because just from that standpoint, I'm just so tired, cold, exhausted. I'm outside. I don't see how or why people know me, but they do. I'm openly discriminated against sometimes. I mean, like, I have no idea. And trying to deal with all that, as well as just like knowing just emotionally I'm just not being heard. Like, I feel unheard. I feel unseen. That's how I am. I don't like to feel heard. I mean, I said I don't like to feel like I'm not heard. I don't like to feel like I'm over invalidated or not seen. You know? So I just like don't even know at the end of the day. And that's how like everyone is, really. To the point where, you know, you should be like, if you have someone that's important to you, please be observant of the way that they feel. You know? I feel like that's like a request from me, but that most likely will be from that person too. No one likes to feel like they're not being, like there's no receptiveness. It doesn't work, you know? It's not receptive though. That didn't go well. How does this work though? Can I just rock on top of him? If you can jump here, so. Oh, no, I'm not gonna make it. Gosh darn it. Yeah. Okay. Frustrating, but still okay. Oh, by the way, I'm playing this on keyboard. Insanely difficult. You have no idea. Gotta swim over the flip it dude. Yep. Get a flip from the dude. What the flip do? I don't know. But yeah. For the most part, I was thinking like, with everything going on, this portion and aspect of it actually is really just, you know, some form of me trying to communicate things that I'm going through too. There's not a lot of people have had to go through what I go through either. And I'm insanely hungry again. I need some ramen, I think. Need some ramen noodles. I'm trying to feel better. but I'm kind of losing faith in the world. I'm gonna be honest with you. I lost a lot of faith in the world going through situations where people didn't have to act, say, or think or behave in a certain way, and they still do. You know, like you really didn't have to be that way to begin with, but not knowing that you are, it's just like, okay. Pretty sure the Shines Right is like on these platforms out here, right? Or not? The hell? Whatever though. I have to save some stories and stuff. I have this like whole list of other stories to go through. But I think I'm gonna turn some music on and get the Shines Right. So be right back.
One, zero, nothing.
start, we should see fire. 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition. We have tremendous flame out there. All engines, and we have liftoff. She's rising. She's yawing now to clear the tower. That slight yaw. Now the huge tail is passing the tower. She's lifting up. We have tower clear. We have tower clear. We're beginning to feel the first thunderous roar. I can see her rising now as she's going up straight into the roll program, which she should be completing. We should expect to hear from the astronauts as this spit of land is beginning to shake with the
One, zero, nothing. the power of it as it goes through a slight wisp of cloud.
Well, maybe it has to do with, like the dialogue here. I'm sorry. Way too hard for you to wrap your noodle around. But I can tell there's something suspicious about this tower. By the way, look. How can anyone climb this thing? You don't know, dude. Fuck. Let me see this. Get over here. Stuck. This guy's saying, you know, I can give that some pretty handy info now. Like that wall over there, it's never mind. Huh? What wall? This is fresh. I don't know what to do. What? Why not mushrooms? Nice. Flippin' sweet. It's kinda cool. It's a hard one to get. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I guess I saw him. Walls, the guy talking. This one? Cool. But yeah, super frustrating, but also like I love this game. It's so pretty. The color scheme, tropical theme, everything. So it's like a good little piece of like history. Actually, it's a cult classic. So I should know how to play it, but I have no idea. You go into this little mechanism here, down here. Is there a door here? There is. What the? Where did he just create it at? Painted Mario doesn't have my jetpack piece to flip out. You see that? He even waved. What's going on there? This is so cool. No, I mean I like the whole like space thing. Or actually like looks like it's in a game, but it's also space. But what's up with like the whole like Lincoln Log wood aesthetic here? It reminds me of like old wood toys, you know, that are like made out of like carved for some reason. Like someone had it when they were a pilgrim. Nice. Another life. Like pilgrim toys. I never had Legos. I like Legos even now, but I never had Legos. Had the generic version, and I'm the oldest. I never got toys, so I was like way past Legos by the time my family actually bought them for my siblings. These remind me of like Wonder Blocks. Stupid Wonder Blocks. I'll never be a Lego. No, I'm dead. I actually think Legos are like stand the test of time as being some of the best Hasbro product. It's derived with Hasbro originally, I think, but I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But I'm not like a Lego guy. I'm not a Lego Star Wars guy. I don't you know what? I like Star Wars, but arguably, people say the prequels were worse, but I don't know. I think the prequels are better, actually, than the original Luke Skywalker. You know, is that weird? Did I prefer Obi-Wan and Anakin over Luke solely? You know what I mean? Old Obi-Wan. Actually, young Obi-Wan. Hello there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Where he like jumps down and he's fighting General Grievous and he's like, hello there. You do not want to sell me death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. I just think that those parts of the movies are just... Oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Those parts of the movies are awesome, right? Because they kind of stand out in your memory as like... I almost just died immediately. Oh, what time is it? But they stand the test of time, like it's like moments in the movie that like are unforgettable. But usually there's like some sort of like phrase associated with them, one-liner, you know. That's something you can appreciate about film. But what's different about this is that this is film, but it's also like separate from that industry, but not in that way that you think. Like sometimes I script or think about stories, right? But also there's an aspect of like personal things. There's a personal aspect. It's not entirely centered around film. It's how I'm feeling and everything else. What did you talk about? Please give me the flippin' mushroom. Can't even see it. Oh, sorry. For some reason it doesn't want to grab it. See this? There we go. You gotta be fast here, right? So I jumped right off the edge. This is my favorite part. These kind of games. It can be so frustrating, but it's kind of funny. In the background. But anyways, yeah, like the whole like Twitch streaming thing. Some people stream and they just sit down and talk, and that's okay too. But for me, like I script and think about things I want to talk about beforehand, and then I sort of like make it into sort of a cohesive discussion about what I'm going through or how I feel like I've been treated, or like weird stories like that guy, right? But intrinsically, I think like as a final product, it actually serves a purpose as like cohesive web series, because I've actually gone through so much, you know. It's like I don't know, a web series in that aspect, so I can spend some time like even producing certain things, being like